Hello, good morning. Welcome along to Game Week Preview here on EPLW. My name is Joe. Alongside me is a man who very much needs an introduction. It is, of course, the man who likes to dig up dinosaur bones. It's Roz Geller, aka Roz from Friends. Roz, how you doing? Do you like that one?
That was brilliant. It's in an advert at the moment, isn't he? David Schwimmer.
Yeah, I saw that the other day. I was like, what? The
he's had some work
TSB.
done, I think.
Sorry?
I think he's had some work done. His like Botox or something. The top of his
Really?
head looks very weird. I don't know. Just strange looking face. But
Is he? If you were any character from Friends, who would you be?
Chandler, definitely.
Chandler? Well, not Gunter.
Yeah, well, you know, sort of awkward jokes to hide, you know. Just joke.
Yeah,
That's why we're doing a podcast, right?
Yeah, you are really funny, so that helps.
Yeah. I
mean, but you don't.
But who do you think?
Well, no, I think you'd be potentially with the blonde hair. I'm thinking Gunter.
Oh, that's yeah, screw you, man.
I reckon. I don't know. I'd probably be one of those cameos, like Bruce Willis's cameo pops in. You know.
Oh, here's the thing about Bruce Willis's cameo, right?
Okay.
Here's like a big sort of Friends paradox thing, where Bruce Willis is a different guy in it. So he's in Friends, but he doesn't play Bruce Willis. He plays whatever his name is. And they also watch Die Hard in Friends.
Ah.
So who plays John McCain in Die Hard in the Friends universe? Because if it was Bruce Willis, they would recognise him as Elizabeth's dad.
Well, there you go. You learn something new every week. My mind is yet again blown by the comedy genius and frankly, the ability to spot these things. You know, well done, mate. Well done. Okay, right. Should we get on with the show? Let's talk ball. Right, before we start, I've got some news, Roz. We've got a brand new patron. Oh, his name's Jack. Jack, yeah. Okay, let's turn that off. Right, Jack, thank you very much for becoming a patron. We now have 2 patrons, Jack and Andrew. And if you want to be like Jack and or Andrew and get your own little shout out and have sort of voting rights in what we do, and also you can, you know, contribute to the content and stuff like that, you can support us for as little as £2.50, $3, whatever currency you're working with, we've got it covered. Just head to patreon.com/Joe Carter EPLW and you can help the channel grow. You can help us to grow as people as well. And maybe you can help our jokes grow as well and make them better. But let's have a look at the fixtures, shall we, for the game week ahead, Roz? So, last night, we've already got one result in from this week. Last night was Newcastle 1, Villa 1. The ones that we're going to predict and look ahead to, though, or try and predict, go like this. Today, Leeds against Chelsea, 12:30 from Elland Road. That one's on BT Sport. Then Crystal Palace against West Brom at 3 o'clock on Sky Sports, followed by Everton Burnley, live from Goodison on Sky Sports at 5:30. And then Fulham Man City at 8 o'clock. I'm quite looking forward to that one on BT Sport. Then tomorrow's games go like this. Southampton Brighton, which isn't a derby because Brighton have the derby of Crystal Palace, as we know, at midday on BT Sport. On BBC Sport. BBC get all the good games, don't they? Leicester Sheffield United at 2 o'clock on Sky Sports, followed by Arsenal Spurs, the North London derby at 4:30 on Sky Sports. And then closing out your Sunday night, Man United West Ham. Wow, there's a couple of big games there at 7:15 on Sky Sports. Monday Night Football is Wolves entertaining Liverpool at Molineux, 8 o'clock on Sky Sports. Lots of interesting fixtures to talk about there, Roz. Any of them standing out to you at the moment?
Oh, it's definitely Southampton, Brighton, you know. There's some really crucial ones for the race to the top 4. Mainly sort of Man United, West Ham. Who've both got kind of teams breathing down their neck. in the fight for the Champions League, and the North London derby. I'm surprised you're not kind of more nervous. Or is that why
Nervous?
you're sort of, how are you feeling, Joe?
Well, I don't know if you saw what I said on Twitter earlier, but yeah, it was a 4-letter word, and I'm a little bit nervous if I'm honest. But it should be a good game because I'm impartial. So I mean, I might have an Arsenal book over my shoulder there. But,
Yeah.
Great
No,
book this, by the way. The Romford Pele. I just realised, like, Ray Parlour's everywhere at the moment, and I realised I got this book, so I thought, oh, put it on display.
Nice.
Yeah. It's only
The,
Ray Parlour.
It's only Ray Parlour. I was watching another podcast last night.
What?
And
You were cheating on us.
But right, it's like a sort of parallel universe because the kind of bearded, bubbly guy in that one is a Spurs fan.
The bearded, bubbly guy. Is that me? Cheers.
Yeah, and the kind of the cynical, sort of nasally one. He's a QPR fan, right? So you got like our sort of London sort of sibling channel there, but basically the Spurs fan being dark and bitter and resentful about all things related to the Gunners. As soon as someone said North London derby, you just went, it's not a derby. It's not a derby.
Really?
It's a rivalry. It's a rivalry, I'll give you that.
Oh.
But if you want to talk derby for Arsenal, it's Crystal Palace. Because it's Woolwich Arsenal, and they're a South London club. Don't move into our territory. It's not a derby. Stop calling it a derby. That's what he said.
Yeah.
So,
bless.
Thoughts, Joe?
Yeah, bless. Gotta have something to moan about, Gotta have something to bottle. If it's officially a derby, then obviously there's something extra to lose or to bottle there. I think I'll just ask him to take a look at Spurs' trophy cabinet and come back to me on that one. Right, let's get on to the games. And our first game that we're going to pick apart and try and predict. Actually, do you know what? Should we do our predictions first? Should we see how we got on with our predictions last week?
Let's do it.
Cool. I've got so many tabs open here at the moment on my computer. I'm trying to figure out what on earth is going on. Right, okay. Last week's predictions. Burnley, Arsenal. You said 3-0 Saka. I said 2-0 Pepe. We both lost that one. We got 0 points each. Sheffield United, Southampton. We both said 1-0 to Sheffield United for some reason. You said McGoldrick. I said McBurney. Obviously, Southampton won that. So nil points all for that one. Villa Wolves. You said 1-0. I said 1-0. We both said El Ghazi. So I got a point because it was 0-0. I called the draw. So 1 point for me. Brighton, Leicester, you said 1-1 Vardy. I said 2-1 Welbeck. Obviously, Leicester won that 2-1, and neither of those players were involved. 0-0. Again, West Brom, Newcastle. Sorry, go on.
So that's Saturday, right? That's Saturday covered.
Yeah, Saturday covered. 1 point between us.
In 4 games, we got 1 point between us.
Yep, we are experts, mate. We're Premier League experts.
Why are people watching?
West Brom, Newcastle. 1-0. We both said 1-0. You said Diangana. I said Pereira. We both got 0 points for that. Liverpool, Fulham. We both said 1-0 to Fulham. Look at us. Aren't we clever? But you said Madra and I said Lookman. And it was, of course, Mario Lemina who got that 1-0 for Fulham. So we both got 2 points each there. One for the score and one for the result. Man City, Man United. You said 2-0 Man United. I said 2-1 Man City. You said Cavani. I said Foden. A whitewash there for you almost. 2 points to 0. Spurs Palace, we both said 2-0. You said Kane, I said Bale. And we got 2 points each for that because Spurs won and Kane and Bale scored a couple each. Chelsea Everton, you said 1-0 Werner. I said 0-0 Pickford. You got 1 point for the Chelsea victory. West Ham Leeds, you said 2-1 Antonio. I said 3-0 Soucek. So we get 1 point each for that one, which means you won last week's predictions 8-6. And overall, it means you're 4-1 in the lead. Let's quickly review our top 4 predictions that we made last week as well. You said City, Chelsea, Man United, Spurs. I said City, Chelsea, Man United, West Ham. Let's see how we get on with those. And we've got a comment in already from Universal Fleece on YouTube. He says Leeds versus Chelsea. Well, they say Leeds versus Chelsea looks like a good game. How will Tuchel deal with the way Leeds play? Thinking emoji, okay emoji. We'll get onto that now. I'll give you a bit of team news first. because that is our first game of the weekend. Kicks off at 12:30 at Ellen Road today. Leeds United welcome back Jamie Shackleton following an injury, while Robin Koch is set to feature for the under-23 team. Pascal Struijk, Pablo Hernandez and Adam Forshaw remain out. Chelsea have no new fitness concerns, with Tammy Abraham set to miss a 5th match because of an ankle injury. Ziyech, Chilwell and Giroud could return, but Thiago Silva remains out. Tuchel unbeaten, and I've got to hold my hands up. I said I didn't think he was the real deal for the Premier League about 4 or 5 weeks ago. He's proved me wrong, so fair play. Chelsea in 4th place on 50 points. A win here would take them temporarily into 3rd place, which suddenly looks quite good for them, doesn't it, Roz?
Well, yeah, I called them second for a reason. They are certainly the form side since Tuchel's come in, but not just sort of in the results. I think the performances have actually been a lot better than the results. And actually the time that it's taken him to kind of put his stamp on the team is remarkably short, I think. In terms of the comment on how will he deal with Leeds, just like to remind everyone that Leeds haven't scored in 2 games.
Yeah.
Right? So this is the Leeds that score 5 and concede 4, you know.
Yeah.
They attack, can't defend to save their lives, but you know they'll always score. Two teams in a row have kept a clean sheet against them.
Yeah, having a bit of a slip-up, aren't they? Well, it could be a slip-up. It could be we've done enough to stay up this season. Let's start focusing on our defending and get real game practice for defending as opposed to scoring the goals, because they will win by scoring more. That was their mentality, wasn't it? First half of the season. And I think maybe this is just, you know, my 2 cents, but I think maybe they are looking at potentially shaping up, solidifying that defence, getting some in-game practice. Now they're guaranteed sort of to stay in the division, and maybe working on the defending side of the game a bit more.
So you're saying they've lost twice in a row without scoring on purpose?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying they're focusing on improving their defending and getting and seeing if they can bring that into their game, because it was non-existent.
You're as bad as the rest of the media, Joe. You're always like, in anything negative, trying to turn anything like with a positive spin.
Well, Roz, I mean, it's not just Leeds. That's me all round. You know, I'm just a nice guy. You know, I'm just all round nice guy.
You're the bubbly beardy one, right?
I'm the bubbly bearded one that's not a Spurs fan. But yeah. Anyway, I do. Yeah, I don't know. Personally, I think Tuchel will happily deal with Leeds. You know, as you're saying, he suffocates oppositions, doesn't he? That is, I mean, it's a grim thought, but that is literally the analogy. He suffocates them with possession, picks them off, and Leeds' defence, however much effort they're putting into that now, is not surely not going to withstand Chelsea's offence.
However much effort, however much money, I think they spent almost £50 million on centre halves. But yeah, I see this one going only one way. Which is probably clear by now. I think it'll go
no. What are you going for? A draw?
I'm gonna say 3. No, I'm gonna say 2-0 Chelsea.
2-0 Chelsea.
Be very controlled, and I think he scored last week. Let's go for him again. Let's go for Jorginho.
Jorginho. Do you reckon it's going to be a penalty then?
I do.
So you reckon, after all that, you reckon Chelsea are going to win 2-0 and one of them's going to be a pen? It's like...
Yeah, but it will be a really funny pen. It will be like a calamitous error from Liam Cooper or that twat Luke Ayling. You know, one of those.
Well, in the comments, Jack reckons 2-0 Chelsea. Universal Fleece is saying 2-2. I'd like to know who your scorers are in those guys as well. If you are watching, yeah, get your predictions in the comments as we go through them. And when it comes to us doing our predictions, we will give yours a shout as well, and we'll see if we're on the same page. I'm going to also go 2-0 Chelsea here. I can't see beyond that. Plus, I've got to really pick the games where I go head-to-head with you, because I need to get back into this. You're beating me 4-1 so far in the predictions game. So you're saying 2-0 with Jorginho. I'm saying 2-0 as well. I'm going to go a little bit safer, I think. And I'm going to stick to old reliable Mason Man.
Very nice. He didn't start the last game, did he?
No, he was resting in for the Leeds game.
It's the first time he'd been dropped in, since, Lampard's time.
Do you know Edward Mendy?
Not personally, but I know of the goalkeeper.
13 clean sheets in the Premier League this season.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Like, he's been exactly what Chelsea have needed. And sometimes I just think, you think how much they spent on Kepa. What was it? Nearly 60 million on Kepa a couple of years ago.
I thought it was more. Was
it 70?
Yeah, 70.
Anyway, it was a lot. Mendy, 22 million, which is actually a bargain for any player who performs that well in the Premier League. So great bit of business there, Edouard Mendy, and he sort of slipped under the radar. And he's literally, Ederson's got 15 clean sheets. I think it's Martinez on 13 or 14 and Mendy on 13. So he's up there, top 3 keepers.
It's funny how sort of stats work, isn't it? Because, like, I don't... like maths and stuff. Like,
like numbers, when something happens and then they count the numbers.
3 clean sheets, then get 13 clean sheets all together, right? It's funny how...
it's funny how stats work. Yeah, I know what you mean. Football, what's that all about? Funny how football works, isn't it? You kick the ball, pass it to someone, or you can shoot. You can use your head sometimes as well if you want, but probably not for much longer.
Hard to make a serious point of analysis here.
Oh yeah, go. Carry on.
It's funny how, like,
don't say it again, please.
Stats don't relate to what you think that you've kind of seen. So, for example, I think that Chelsea have one fairly good defender who's been fairly average so far in Thiago Silva, who's also been injured a lot. I think Kurt Zouma can be quite rash. Christensen, I don't really rate any of their centre halves apart from Thiago Silva. Really.
Yeah, while you're on that quickly, Thiago Silva, also another stat for you. Thiago Silva has the highest amount of passes completed per game since he's been, of the whole Premier League season, highest amount of passes completed per game, which I know pass completion stats just tell you how much a team holds the ball, but he's ahead of Rodri, he's ahead of De Bruyne, he's ahead of Diaz and Stones, and, everyone else at Man City. It's basically him, then a load of Man City players. But,
that's incredible.
Yeah, and
how much time do Chelsea spend in their own half?
Well, exactly, yeah. Well, they play such a high line with Tuchel that essentially, he's a sort of holding midfielder in a way, isn't he? In terms of the switching of play from side to side and working around the box. Anyway, sorry. What were you saying?
I know, it's just funny how sort of you remember players' history, all that kind of stuff. When we did the Man United podcast, plug there for anyone. We just did a Man United all-time 11 video, which is up on the channel.
Oh, it was amazing.
And I was looking at strikers and their stats and how I sort of remembered the great Man United strikers. You know who was like remarkably good? Dimitar Berbatov.
United
was like something like the 4th or 5th most prolific. Way more prolific than Carlos Tevez.
Interesting.
Better at Man United than he was at Spurs. That's not how I remember it at all. And obviously he's going to get kind of more chances at Man United, but you look at the stats and you go, actually, he was an incredibly decent player for them. And that's not really how I remember it. He didn't really tear it up there for me. And I always remember him being far better in his Spurs days. But there you go.
There you go, indeed. I mean, he did bring some magic to Old Trafford, didn't he? The theatre of dreams. Anyway, in the comments for that game, the Chelsea Leeds game, we've got Mount Bamford to score. We've got Werner and Mount. We've got Chilwell to be a star man. Interesting stuff there. I think they're all pretty much on the money, aren't they? But we're going to crack on. We're going to crack on.
I was just going to say quickly, it's Bamford's former club, isn't it? So he's definitely got a point to prove.
Of course, yeah, Bamford. Well, he's definitely got a point to prove. Chelsea loaned him out 7 times in his youth, sort of younger days, didn't they? before eventually selling him to Middlesbrough. 7 different loans. What does that do to a player? Doesn't help, does it? But we've seen it so many times at Chelsea with various players, including, Kevin De Bruyne and Mo Salah, to name a few. But we're going to move on now to surely the highlight of the game week. Crystal Palace at home to West Bromwich Albion, live from Selhurst Park at 3 o'clock. And guess who's making a comeback, Roz?
Not West Brom.
Wilfred Zaha could make his first start since the beginning of Feb after returning from a hamstring injury as a substitute for Palace last weekend. 7 players remain out, though, including Nathaniel Klein, Tyrick Mitchell, Mamadou Sakho and James MacArthur. West Brom winger Grady Diangana might make his comeback from illness. Robert Snodgrass, Big Sam's super sub, is doubtful as he waits to learn the extent of an unspecified injury sustained this week during training. If you're watching, please put your predictions in the comments for this one. Crystal Palace coming into the game 13th, 34 points after 28 games. West Brom, 19th, second bottom, 18 points from 28 games. And you know what? West Brom actually come into this off the back of some quite good form, don't they? I think they've only lost 1 in 5. Got a few clean sheets in there as well. They've got a win. If they're going to do it, it's got to be now. I sort of say this about West Brom each week. It's like, if they're going to do it, it's got to be now. They're building a foundation. Yeah, go on. You take it away.
I know what you're saying. There's another thing that you do every week, and I'm sort of seeing a common theme here. Every time you do West Brom's match day news, every single week, Grady Diangana might be coming back. What you saying? It was now an illness. He might be returning from an illness. So he had like an injury, and they weren't really sure if it was an injury or not. And he might have been coming back, but he wasn't holding him back. And then he got a cold.
Yeah.
No, I think the kind of time for 6-pointers, the proverbial 6-pointer, it was last week. I think the fact that they really didn't show much for me against Newcastle, who were poor, until maybe the last 10 minutes. I can see what Big Sam's doing. He's trying to keep it tight, get goals when they matter. I don't think he, unlike any other squad that he's had, he doesn't have kind of players he can trust to actually get him those goals. So I think they've left it a bit too late. If they can't beat Newcastle, I can't really see them beating Palace. Zaha came on as a sub last week, I think, and hit the post within about 10 minutes from about 25 yards out. So, yeah, he'll add a bit of magic to Palace. However, I'm going to go for a 0-0 just because every game that I sort of thought would be boring has proved to be really, really dull. I sat through West Brom Newcastle.
The way you say it,
really,
you sat through
tragic.
it. I mean, that kind of says it all, doesn't it? Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I watched Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy last night, and I kind of sat through that. I think I wasn't paying enough attention, and I sort of messaged a mate after. I was like, "Is it just me, or is Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy rubbish?" And he was like, "No, it's really good. It's like a classic whodunit. You've got to really focus on it and take note of what's going on." And I completely wasn't doing that. I'm like, my brain was elsewhere.
I find films are best when you watch them.
That is a good point. Maybe I will try and do that from now on. Is actually watch the films. Excuse me. Friday night is film night in the Carter household. Whoop, whoop. Okay, so we've got some predictions in for this one. Mus says 1-1 West Brom Palace. Also, Tom, who's joining us tomorrow night on EPLW, is saying 1-1 as well. I'm going with you though, Roz. I'm also saying 0-0, and I think my star man, it's got to be one of the keepers, hasn't it? But which keeper is going to keep him in it? I think I'm going to go Gaeta, Vicente Gaeta for Palace.
Well, let's shake it up. Got a 4-1 lead, so I might as well,
All right, flex.
Thank you. Let's go for the other goalkeeper. Let's go for Sam Johnston.
Sam Johnston, who has like the most saves per game in the Premier League. Sorry, I feel like I've like swallowed a stat book this morning. I'm just remembering these stats that I looked at. I was just looking at some stats yesterday. I was like intrigued, looking through some stats, picking my fantasy team and stuff like that.
The
Okay.
thing about that is, can you name West Brom's back four?
No.
But there we go. So he's going to be saving more shots, isn't he? they got Furlong, Ivanovic playing.
I don't know.
I mean, you couldn't stay awake for Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, like West Brom games. God, they're hard work.
I'm going to tell you who West Brom's back four is now by looking on my phone.
So it's Furlong,
Connor Townsend.
Not John, he's retired.
Dara O'Shea. Yeah, Kyle Bartley and Connor Townsend. That's the preferred back four, I think.
Nice.
But yeah, anyway, moving swiftly on. Let's park that one, Crystal Palace, West Brom. And we're going to move on now to Everton, Burnley. Now, this one should actually be quite an exciting game, I think. 5:30, live from Goodison Park. If you're watching, get your predictions in the comments and we'll share them in a sec after this team news. Everton midfielder Abdoulaye Doucouré faces up to 10 weeks out due to a small fracture in his foot, which he sustained during the win at West Brom. Tom Davies, Seamus Coleman and Yerry Mina all return from injury, but Gylfi Sigurdsson is a doubt and James Rodriguez is still not fit. Burnley missing Charlie Taylor with a hamstring strain. Robbie Brady's ongoing Achilles injury will be assessed, while Jack Cork and Ashley Barnes remain unavailable. So Burnley visiting Goodison on 30 points. They're 15th. They are in that relegation dogfight, especially with Fulham doing so well now. Everton pushing for that top four place, 46 points, 4 points off the top four. But this is a kind of a game. It's not the game in hand, but they have a game in hand. And they could be 1 point off the top four with a win here. How do you see it playing out? Roz from Friends.
It should be a good game. I think the biggest kind of football tragedy of lockdown for me is that it's been so long since I've actually heard Martin Tyler say, "At Goodison Park is rocking." And he always sort of says, literally rocking. We're literally shaking. And yeah, it's definitely a ground that I'd love to kind of visit, before they move, just because it's such a legendary stadium. But also, I want to see if it is actually literally rocking, because they say that every time.
I think it's made of wood, isn't it? So that's why it literally rocks. Because, anyway. Where do you see it going anyway? Who's the big players? What's the result?
I think it's got to be Everton here. I think that I still don't think they'll get a European place, but
really?
They might get the Conference UEFA League or whatever. I can't see them finishing fifth or above. I don't think.
On the Conference League thing, quickly, I think I had a look into it the other day, and I think the Premier League or the English place in the Conference League goes to the winner of the EFL Cup, the League Cup, and then it descends that way, and it goes to eventually 7th place in the league. Kind of like the Europa League goes with the FA Cup, and that defers to 7th. But then if that goes to 7th, then the Conference League place goes to 8th. It's all a bit much.
That's good that Man City are definitely guaranteed a European place this season. I think the Sky Everton's way. I think it'll be 2-0, and I think actually, who's really impressed me lately is Jordan Pickford.
Oh, okay.
He's made some absolutely stunning saves. This is, Burnley will be a threat, but I fancy him to match them in his current form.
Yeah, I mean, Burnley getting that 1-1 more by luck than judgment against Arsenal last week. Xhaka decided to kick it at Chris Wood, and the rest is history.
I wonder if anyone had him in their fantasy team and was disappointed when he didn't get an assist. Great pass.
It was, yeah, it was a beaut. And Arsenal, the masters of their own downfall, kind of yet again. But it's kind of in a more positive way. We'll get onto Arsenal a bit later. Anyway, yeah, we're getting in the comments 1-0 Burnley. Oh, that's a big shout. 1-0 Burnley. I don't know. I think, credit to Burnley. They do I think they pick their battles well. And I think Daishi knows that this one is one that he maybe is going to try and get a draw. So he's going to park the bus. He's going to park 2 buses at Goodison, I think, and 2 banks of 4 maybe, or a 5 and a 4, and leave Chris Wood to just fend for himself, like out in the wild of the other half of the pitch. And I don't know. I just see Ancelotti tactically, he can break them down, and I think it'll be close though. I'm going to say 1-0 or 2-1. I'll go 2-1. I'll give Burnley some credit. 2-1, and it's got to be that man, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, DCL. He's he's been their main man. He's a target man as well. So yeah, I'm going 2-1 Everton, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Look forward to seeing how that one plays out. Okay, if you're watching and you're enjoying this, then be sure to drop a like on the video. Get in the comments, let us know your predictions for the weekend. Let us know what you're up to, and you can support us on Patreon as well, patreon.com/Joe Carter EPLW. Help us grow this channel like Jack and Andrew. Be like Jack and Andrew. They're our patrons and we love them dearly. Thank you so much, guys. We also, we love that you're viewing and watching as well. And if you're enjoying it, tell a friend to tell a friend if you think they would like it. Anyway, I'm going to stop promoing and start talking. Roz, let's talk ball. Fulham Man City. Wow. I'm actually really looking forward to this one. No fresh injury concerns for Fulham. Kearney's back in training, though, which is good news for Fulham fans after his knee problem, which has been quite long term. Man City, Pep, he's going to rotate again, isn't he? Cancelo, Stones, Sterling and Aguero hoping to get back in the team. And Rodri could make his 200th career league appearance. Obviously not all for City, but league appearance, yeah. So City needs 17 points from 9 games to guarantee winning a 5th Premier League title. They obviously sit in first. Fulham at the other end of the table in 18th on 26 points. And going into this, you look at it, Fulham, pretty good form, only 1 loss in 5, coming off the back of that victory over Liverpool. Where do you see this one going?
I think it will be a sort of passionate performance from Fulham, but I don't think they'll have enough to. I think after that Liverpool result, Pep will be sort of more than wary and sort of transfer that to the players and say kind of no slip ups here, particularly after their defeat in the Manchester derby. So they'll want to bounce back as quickly as possible and wrap the title up as quickly as possible as well. Tom Kearney's an interesting one. It's funny, sort of the difference between the Championship and the Premier League, because I think lots of people probably think that it's a bit like FIFA or PES, where if someone's at a worse club, they're slower, they're not as good at tackling, they're not as good at passing. But basically all of their individual stats are significantly worse. They're not as fit and all that kind of stuff, right? Tom Kearney's a player I watched in the Championship for a while, and he was just far too good for the league, sort of pinging it about. And it didn't really quite work out. Well, it didn't work out at all for Fulham the first time they were up in the Premier League. And he's been out for most of their second stint, but they seem to be kind of putting the run together again. But I was going to actually, sorry to tangent all over the place, but related to the
That's right.
Chris Wilder news that he might be leaving. I know we'll get on to that in a bit, but just that actually the Championship, sometimes you need an extra season under your belt to kind of get used to what's expected of you in the Premier League. But Burnley did it with Sean Dyche when they went down. And I think Fulham are kind of proving that to bring it around again. They had one season, they bought lots of players. They started the season poorly and then bought better. It was loans, but they really sort of identified what they needed.
Yeah, I think we've seen a lot of loans, haven't we, because of the pandemic effect and sort of the economic effect of it. Yeah. Sorry, carry on. And so I think it'll be a kind of spirited performance from Fulham. I can't see anything past, let's say, a 2-1 City. 2-1 City. Okay, so what you're saying there with that prediction is that what the point I was about to make is that, yes, City might have too much for Fulham, but they have been conceding goals. Man City have been conceding, ones and twos here and there, up until their run ended in the Manchester derby. And I think just before then, there was a stat, something like, they played 20 games and they'd only conceded 7 goals, and everyone's like, wow, that's pretty good. But then since then, they've dropped. They haven't had a clean sheet, have they, in a few Premier League games? So I can sort of see what you're saying. I think Fulham are battling so hard and they're so resilient at the moment. I'm actually going to go 1-1, and this is the one where I'm going to try and pick my win here.
Nice.
I do think it'll be a tight game though. I think it's what we love about the Premier League, isn't it? Is that on their day, anyone can beat anyone. And
who knows? Arsenal could even beat Spurs.
Why'd you do it? Right. Okay, no, I'm fine. Let's carry on.
Just trying to get as many like North London derby. Sorry, it's not a derby. It's not a derby. Right, it's not a derby. North London rivalry.
I'm saying 1-1, and I'm saying Mahrez will score for Man City, and I'm ignoring you. Who's your man of the match going to be in that? Roz, Fulham and.
Let's go for. It's the same side. I'm going to go for Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, Gundogan, I think he scored in the sort of midweek. Southampton they played the midweek one. But actually, I think he's looked since De Bruyne has come back. Gundogan's kind of dropped into that 8-4 position rather than the 10, and hasn't looked sort of anywhere near as good. Which is great for my fantasy team because I dropped him. But that's how people kept him. But no, I think Kevin De Bruyne, he's definitely a kind of player that will want to bounce back after that Man United game. I think he looked really poor against Man United actually. Tempting to say worst game I've seen him have. His passing was well off the mark.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you're locking in Kevin De Bruyne, 2-1 City to win at Fulham tonight. Okay, let's get on to Sunday's games then, tomorrow's games. And we're all going to get a lie in because Sunday's midday kickoff is Southampton, Brighton and Hove Albion live from St Mary's. Or are we going to get a lie in, Roz? Let's see how we predict this one going. Southampton's Moussa Djenepo could feature despite being subbed against Man City on Wednesday because of a groin problem, and Danny Ings remains sidelined with a muscle injury. Big loss for Southampton, that Danny Ings. Tariq Lamptey's been confirmed to be out for the rest of the season with a hamstring injury that could even require surgery. Aaron Connolly also unavailable due to a cracked rib, which will keep him out and probably until the international break. This one kind of is looking a bit like a 6-pointer. If it was 5 games deeper into the season and teams were as precariously placed as they are now, you might even say it's a 6-pointer. Southampton 14th on 33 points, Brighton 17th on 26 points. This is their game in hand. If Brighton are surviving, this is a game they surely need to be winning, Ross.
It looks like it on paper. I still think there are going to be 3 sides that are worse off than them. Their problem is they can't score. They're creating chances brilliantly. They're anyone who's into XG, Brighton's their favourite team. But yeah, they just can't finish, can't put them away, and I see this one going that way really. I think Southampton will win. Let's go 1-0. Actually, no. Let's go for a 1-1.
A 1-1, okay. So you think? I was going to say you think Southampton are going to win without Danny Ings. I think that's like a big shout. But 1-1 is also a big shout. I'm going to go 0-0. I think. Remember, if you're watching as well, get in the comments and give us your predictions. I'm thinking I'm going to go for a 0-0 here. 2 0-0s in one game week. I think it's going to be that. I don't know. I just can't see it doing much. I think they'll both just accept the point. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Che Adams scored an absolute belter, didn't he, the other week?
Yes.
From just outside the box, I think it was.
Actually, do you know what? No, I'm changing. You changed your mind. I'm going to change my mind because there's one man we haven't talked about and that is James Ward-Prowse. He's going to be my man of the match, I think.
He's a player, Jeff. He's a player.
He is definitely
left foot, right foot.
A football player, and he's
free kicks, corners, penalties. He's a player.
I think the average for a free kick is, I think 1 in 8 free kicks goes in or something like that. It might even be 1 in 10. He scored 1 in 4 of his free kicks this season. So he scored 4 from 16 attempts or something like that, which is actually very good return. Almost sort of Ronaldo-esque, harking back to the days of Cristiano Ronaldo at Man United. When you thought maybe there's more likelihood of it going in when he stepped up to take the free kick. I think James Ward-Prowse isn't quite on that level, but he's knocking on the door as well, isn't he? He wants to get on the plane to Wembley for the Euros in the summer. But from Southampton Airport all the way up to Luton Airport. Oh, big plane ride, that one. So yeah, I'm going 1-0 Southampton. James Ward-Prowse to be the decisive character on the pitch on the day. What are you saying, Roz? You're saying 1-1 Southampton Brighton. Who's your main man?
I'm gonna match you. I'm gonna go James Ward-Prowse as well. I'm gonna copy you.
Oh, okay.
It's remarkable free kick takers because they're all sort of from different distances.
Yeah.
It's not like a sort of, I don't know, like a Luke Dean at Everton or a player like that where you sort of go, that's good range for him. That's a really good range for him. And some players like 25, some players like 18, some players like a bit more space, that kind of stuff. James Ward-Prowse, doesn't really matter how far out it is. He's got like different free kicks in his locker. You were talking about Ronaldo. He kind of reminds me quite a lot of Bex. The way he kind of leans when he takes a set piece.
Yeah.
I find it really Beckham-esque. It's really quite nice to watch.
Perhaps he had posters of David Beckham up on his wall as a child. Anyway, we've got someone in the comments, Harvey, saying, luckily I benched Martinez, got Pickford instead. Strong arm emoji. Harvey, well done to you, mate. Benching Martinez. Good shout. Last night, obviously, drew 1-1. You reckon Pickford's going to do well, don't you, Roz? Harvey agrees with you. This game.
I do, definitely. I can relate to Harvey. I benched Martinez as well. But you know what defender I had? Jamal Lascelles. Who scored the goal that lost him his clean sheet. So when that went in I think the last 10 seconds or whatever it was, sort of the last kick or head of the game, I was very happy with myself.
Yeah, I didn't bench Martinez. But, 3 points is 3 points in fantasy football. I'll take that. It's better than Edison got me the last few weeks. Okay, so let's move on then to Leicester City against Sheffield United. Live from the King Power at 2 p.m. tomorrow. And if you're watching, get in the comments. Give us your prediction for this game. How do you think it will go? Who's going to be the man of the match? Leicester, Sheffield United, 2 o'clock tomorrow. Leicester bolstered by the expected availability of Johnny Evans, Dennis Pratt and Iosi Perez after injuries. James Maddison won't return before the international break with the ongoing hip problem. Phil Jagielka is available after suspension for Sheffield United in the first game since reported departure of Chris Wilder, which we'll get onto. And the Blades remain without John Egan, Chris Basham, Jack Robinson, Jack O'Connell and Sander Berger. So still got that long injury list to think about. You think also, Leicester have had a few problems with injuries, but it looks like they're going to be back to almost full strength. Leicester third in the table, 1 point off second, Man United. I reckon they could sneak a top 4, even though I predicted that they wouldn't. I feel like they might slip up again, but they could get it. I'm literally contradicting myself in the same sentence. Sheffield United, too little, too late. Really, is it too little, too late from them? If Chris Wilder is going now, it's 10 games. What's the thinking behind that?
Is he gone yet? Is he actually gone? Because it's like yesterday afternoon they announced that he's set to leave. Have they actually put an announcement up yet?
Well,
I'll check the website and see if they've done it yet.
They haven't. It's just set to leave. That's the only.
No, just set to leave. But I think the thing about this is that it's whether it's a resignation, whether it's kind of a mutual consent thing, or whether it's them sacking him. It kind of brings me back to that sort of Championship, Premier League difference, and it's not just that everyone's faster, everyone's just better at football. absolute crap. It's a very different league. I think you've actually got less time on the ball in the Championship because players just kind of go at you in a much kind of harder way. So it's kind of it's adjusting to the league.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing from Norwich, who got relegated in bottom place last season, they stuck with their man. They kept Daniel Farker. They're absolutely tearing the Championship apart again this season.
Yeah.
And, you know, I said about Sean Dyche earlier, Burnley got relegated, came back, kind of learnt from it. And now you kind of feel they're going to stay up every season. I know they're sort of in that conversation, but they always feel like they'll have enough, regardless of who they sell or who they sign. So if it's a firing, if they've sacked him, I think it's an absolutely shocking decision. He's been there for 5 years. He's from the city. He's a boyhood Sheffield United fan and has taken them from League One up to the Premier League and almost took them into Europe.
Yep.
So I'm assuming he's walked away. The other thing is that whilst maybe you could say that Daniel Farker was naive last season with Norwich, I think a relatively small amount of this relegation, and I think it will be a relegation, I'm sure they'll finish bottom place. So much of it is out of their hands. They've been the worst side affected by the lack of fans in stadiums. You know, they're fighting for European places, and then as soon as lockdown gets lifted and we've got these empty stadiums, they've been absolutely shocking. Yeah. And also all those injuries that you talked about earlier as well.
Yeah, well,
all happening in the same parts.
Both teams, both teams with injuries. Harvey's in the comments. He's saying, I think 1-0 Sheffield United, believe it or not. Leicester bombarded with injuries as well, and clubs always bounce back with a win after a manager departs, which is a really interesting point, actually. He also says, imagine Barnsley in the Premier League. And Mus is in the comments as well. He's saying 1-0 Leicester. Remember, if you're watching this, you enjoy what you're seeing, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and you can catch up with us every Saturday morning, every Sunday night, when we do all of our shows and live streams around the Premier League. I personally think, you've made a lot of valuable points there. I want your prediction though, and then I'll give you mine.
I was going for the niceties, but if all you want is just hard, cold stats.
Yeah, look, stop the small talk. Let's get down to business.
Let's go for 1-0 Leicester. When you sort of said they're boosted by the return of, none of the players you listed were sort of the ones I was hoping to hear, which were James Maddison and Harvey Barnes. They've got Jamie Vardy. Johnny Evans is back, great, but they've got kind of covering those positions. I would say Perez could do something. He's another kind of creative player to add there.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go for that man, Jamie Vardy.
Jamie Vardy's having a party. He's been partying quite a lot, it would seem, because he's not quite on his game recently, I don't think. Well, not so much the partying. Maybe he's brought back from injury a bit too soon. I'm saying...
he's having a party, you can bring the vodka, but nothing else.
Yeah. I can't remember who it was. There was an old... it was a player. Was it Richie Delat? Did he play at Leicester for a bit in that champion season? There was an interview I was reading with him, and he just said Vardy just used to like sink pints the night before a game and stuff like that and eat pizza. And, we all know about his pre-match schedule of like 4 cans of Red Bull and a double espresso and like a sausage sandwich or something stupid like that.
Richie Delat, I want to get this right. He's got a ridiculous stat because he went out on loan in that Leicester season. And I think he either got like a championship winners medal as well as a Premier League winners medal. Something like that in that season. He was, where was he?
Because he played enough games to play.
Yeah.
To get a medal.
So in the first half of the season, he actually did play quite a bit. Then as the season went on, Danny Simpson just kind of nailed the spot down, and he went on loan to Middlesbrough. It's either good or bad. They might have got promoted, they might have got relegated or something. I can't remember.
Talking about Jamie Vardy's diet, Mus is in the comments saying, I always knew I had a Premier League footballer's lifestyle. Yeah, Mus likes his caffeine and pizza and stuff as well.
I think he has a dietitian, Jamie Vardy.
I thought you were going to say Mus then. I was like, well, no. Does Jamie Vardy have a dietitian? I wouldn't have thought so. Richie Delat said he was rooming with him once, and He had a small glass of port and Jamie Vardy finished off the bottle. And then, like the night before a Premier League match, like what a nutter. He really is living the dream, Jamie Vardy. He's like an old school player. It's like Arsenal in the 80s, all like down the pub after the game and stuff. Anyway, what's this Richie Delat stat?
Just looking, I can't find it. Damn it. Where did Middlesbrough finish in that season? Ups and downs. Let's keep talking about Jamie Vardy. What's ridiculous is that if he was a 22 or 23-year-old doing that, he's never going to last.
Yeah.
But the fact is, he's like a fine wine. He just seems to, well,
maybe more of a fine port.
At least. Yeah. Maybe not get better, but he's not. Doesn't seem to be slowing down, and he's what, 33, something like that.
Roz, I'm gonna have to move on if you don't get this Delat stat in very shortly, because our viewers are desperately looking forward to this Arsenal Spurs chat.
Yeah, promoted. So he was promoted and won a promoted from the Championship with Middlesbrough, I think, and won the Premier League as well. Wasn't that good, really.
In the comments, 3 strikers Southgate is taking to the Euros. Interesting one. When we're talking about Vardy, Harvey's just got in the comments and saying, who are the 3 strikers that you would say Southgate's taking to the Euros? Very quickly, before we get on to the North London derby, he reckons Vardy might come out of retirement. You know, would he come out of retirement to go play at the Euros on home turf?
If Vardy did that, I would take him in an instant. I don't think he would. But if he did, then he would be the 3rd striker that I'd take. If he didn't, then I wouldn't actually take 3 strikers, which sounds controversial, but actually, for me, you got far more talent in the midfield areas.
Yeah, I completely agree.
The likes of Marcus Rashford, you would kind of take as sort of left winger, probably, but could cover there if injuries happened. But for me, I would just take Harry Kane, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and Marcus Rashford could cover there. Yeah. For me, Bamford, brilliant season. Danny Ings, brilliant season. But I don't think they offer anything that we don't already have. And I would leave one of those places to the likes of James Ward-Prowse, for example, who offers something completely different in set-piece delivery.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a conundrum for Southgate. You know, providing if Kane isn't fit, then we're fucked. But you know, if if we need a backup, like you say, in terms of strikers, I potentially wouldn't even take Calvert-Lewin, because you've got Sterling, who's been playing through the middle. You've got Foden's been playing through the middle on occasion as well. You know, they bring different things to the team. And do you even need a focal number 9 other than Harry Kane? You know, why do you need Calvert-Lewin? Kane can do that job. And then your other options are Foden, Sterling, Rashford, who all bring something slightly different. You know, Rashford, more of a link player. Foden and Sterling can work as a false 9, bringing that midfield into play. You know, unless he wants to play with 2 up top, which I don't see happening.
I think it's literally where you started, which was if Harry Kane stays fit or not. And you know, say he does pick up an injury. I remember the 2006 World Cup where Owen or Rooney wasn't quite fit.
How did that team not win anything?
Injured.
Unbelievable.
And actually, that man Peter Crouch always did it in an England shirt, to be fair to him. But you know, if the worst happens, you need cover for me. So I would take Calvert-Lewin, but definitely, I mean, most people are saying 3 strikers. I think the question just assumed who are the 3 strikers. I wouldn't take 3 strikers. I think we've got far too many good midfielders.
Yeah, Mus is in the comments saying he'd take Kane, DTL, and Ings if he's fit. Ryan's saying could play with a false 9. Exactly. You know, Kane can even do that. So if we're a plan A team without a plan B, Kane plays the false 9. And then, you know, if we need to change things up or bring Kane off to rest him or whatever, then you've got the likes of Sterling, Rashford and Foden who can also drop into that. And we have a wealth of talent in midfield. We should be playing at least 5 in midfield purely because of that. You know, we got, this is turning into an England chat, but you know.
It is, but that's fine. That's fine. We've got it coming up.
We've got a talent pool that is unreal in the sort of creative attacking midfielder area. You know, if Maddison, Grealish, Ward-Prowse, Barnes, if they're all fit, you know, and then you've even got to think about the likes of Saka and Smith Rowe from Arsenal. Did they get in? Are they in the conversation? There's probably someone forgetting, but also, you know, you've got Declan Rice in that holding position. It's looking quite tasty for England.
For sure. I mean, because I'm ridiculously prepared and because it's locked down and I have fuck all to do, basically, I actually made my squad about a month ago or something. Or said, yeah, current form is kind of what I take. And like the strikers thing, where actually I didn't think we needed a third one. In terms of left back cover, you know, you'd usually kind of take 2 left backs, 2 right backs. Again, if kind of worse happens, I would take Bukayo Saka as your left back cover, and then he gives you an extra something going forward. Grealish for me has to start. Maddison certainly in the squad. Harvey Barnes is a tricky one. Does he offer anything new? I think it's all about kind of giving Southgate as many kind of systems as well as kind of different players. And he's got an absolute wealth of riches to choose from. In terms of that false 9 thing, I think the other argument could be that would actually someone, well, be it Harry Kane kind of dropping or a false 9, could actually get more out of the likes of Marcus Rashford cutting inside, as well as Sancho, as well as Sterling, who are all kind of used to playing with someone like that.
Yeah,
you know, Rashford looks best when Martial's playing well and kind of dropping off. For me,
it's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, lots of interest in the comments on this one as well. You know, Harvey saying wouldn't take Maddison, Foden, or Greenwood. Not quite ready. Grealish, Mount, Rashford, and Rice for me. You know, I didn't even mention Foden or Mount when I was talking about the number 10s. Mus saying Jude Bellingham as well. Only English teenage midfield playing in the Champions League at the moment. Doesn't get mentioned often enough. Do you know what, Roz? Do you know what I'm going to say? We need to park this conversation and perhaps do an England special in the next week or 2. If you'd like to see that, let us know in the comments, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're going to move on with the Premier League chat for now, because this is the game week preview on English Premier League Weekly. I cannot wait for the Euros, though. I'm just going to drop that in there. Okay, we've got 3 games left to talk about, and they are 3 massive games. Guess who's coming into form going into the North London derby? It's Arsenal fans' nightmare. It's Gareth Bale, and obviously Kane already on fire. Arteta reported no injury problems after the win against Olympiacos on Thursday night, and has a fully fit squad to choose from. Do you know what? This isn't official, but I reckon that might be the first time in about 15 years that Arsenal have had a fully fit squad going into a Premier League game. Tottenham boss Jose Mourinho expects Harry Kane to be fit. He was substituted on Thursday night, obviously after hurting his knee. But yeah, key players rested in midweek. Gareth Bale, Sergio Reguilon, and Toby Alderweireld are set to be recalled. So both teams in quite good shape going into this one. Arsenal sitting 10th in the league, 38 points. And Tottenham just 7 points ahead of them on 45 in 7th. Arsenal could really do with winning this one, couldn't they, Roz? But have they got a hope in hell?
I think regardless of the result, they'll still stay up.
Regardless of the result, they'll still stay up?
Yeah.
Are you trying to trigger me?
Isn't it? It's a magic number. So I think you'll be all right. Don't worry.
I'm not going to be triggered by you, Roz. I'm not going to be triggered by you. I can see your face. You're eyeballing me as well. I'm not going to take it. Yeah, get in the comments and let us know your predictions for this one as well. Harvey says, England special, yes, please. Yeah, we'll get on that. I've got Bale captain, Son and Kane vice. Come on, Spurs. Spurs 3-0, he reckons. Thanks, Harvey.
I transferred in Bale this week as well.
I resisted.
Who dropped Martinez as well?
Sorry? Yes, Harvey is.
Yeah, me and Harvey are just so in sync.
You are in sync with the team.
Like, we're more in sync than Justin Timberlake.
Brilliant.
See? Chandler. Joke.
Yeah, go on then. What do you reckon?
I think both sides came off wins in Europe. the story of Arsenal season, I think this is kind of a development season. I think that the story of it will be this was the season they brought through the likes of Smith Rowe. Saka started being a real kind of talisman of the team rather than just a sort of exciting youngster. He's now someone that they kind of look to get the ball to make something happen. It's the season that Pepe has started to look a little bit better. But I don't think it will be a season where they look at the table, the finishing position, and take anything from it. It's kind of a growing season for Arsenal.
Yeah, exactly.
They've got this exciting new, they've got a wealth of attacking midfield talent. There's this guy from Egypt I saw called El Neni, right? He scored an absolute screamer midweek.
Yeah, he did.
So could he be another number 10 that you guys are looking at?
Potentially, I guess.
Sorry, did you see the goal? I'm assuming you saw the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw the goal. It was a banger.
Is Europa League below you as an Arsenal fan? You are an Arsenal fan. It's just like, we were in the final in 2006.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it on a Thursday night.
I'm not watching, if it's the Europa League. El Neni was good. I'm just looking at the head-to-head here in the Premier League, and Arsenal, you have to go all the way back to December 2018 to see the last time Arsenal won this fixture. And Tottenham won the last one 2-0. Kane and Son scoring. Before that was 2-1. Son and Alderweireld. Before that it was 2-2. Before that it was 1-1. Spurs have turned the tide in the North London derby, or rivalry, as some Spurs fans like to call it. I can't see it. I mean, realistically, and it pains me to say it as an Arsenal fan, I really can't see it going Arsenal's way, unfortunately. But I can see it being close, and I'll put my money on a draw. I'm going to say 1-1. And I think, you've got to go with Kane, really, haven't you? It's hard for me to say.
With Harry Kane.
Yeah. What do you reckon?
Your optimism is just so... Oh, bless. I think this will be a bit of a drumming, to be honest. I think that Gareth Bale will have a feature league. Will feature heavily. Try that again. I think this will be Tottenham all the way. I think that, like I say, it's development season for Arsenal. I think that he's kind of shored up their defence enough that the only goals they're conceding, like you say, it's all kind of on Arsenal. It's all their own doing. Again, there was another one midweek where Leno passed it to Ceballos in an absolutely ridiculous position, and they got undone by that. I'm seeing a comprehensive Spurs victory. I'm going to go for Gareth Bale, and I'm going to go 4-0.
4-0. Oh my God, you are trying to set me off, aren't you? It's not going to be that bad, Roz. I don't think Arteta's conceded 4 goals in his tenure. That's outrageous. 4-0. I'm not happy about that, to be fair. We've got a few comments, though. I've got to get on the comments. Hang on. Andrew says, guy on the right looks like Ward from Crystal Palace. You can do one, mate. Assuming that's me. Mus says, El Neni Esther. Ryan says, Spurs all day long. He'll get them with pace on the break. Harvey says, Mourinho playing dirty with Kane. Might be fit, might not be. Of course, Kane is playing. He loves a goal against the Gunners. And he also says, big game for Xhaka, this one. So I am getting triggered left, right and centre here. Do you know what? It's not going to be that bad, right? I don't think Arsenal are going to win this game, right? But if you've watched Arsenal at all in the last year under Arteta, the games are close. Even when Liverpool were on their amazing run, they just won, and we went to Anfield and we lost 1-0, but Arteta absolutely, kept the game tight, smashed it. My head's gone, Roz. My head's gone. I'm going to calm down. I'm going to take a breather.
And how does it make you feel, Joe? How does it make you feel? You know what? I'm going to trick you for more. I've just looked up Joel Ward, who, by the way, in his day was quite a good right back. I think he had the most successful tackles in the league for a right back or something a few years ago. I can see it. Andrew. The guy on the right does look a bit like Ward from Crystal Palace. So he's also said Millwall, arms. So,
Yeah.
good man.
Yeah, it's a Premier League show though. Universal Fleece saying Arteta will play 10 men behind the ball. As with all big games, his prediction is 0-0. Right? See, that is it. We don't go into the big games lightly, and don't go into any games lightly, to be fair. But I'm not here as an Arsenal fan. I'm here as the presenter of a TV show called EPLW. Thank you everyone for getting in the comments. If you're watching and you're enjoying what you're seeing, remember subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a beat. And we will be coming at you tomorrow at 6:30. Straight after the North London derby, so who knows what kind of mood I'll be in then. But we're going to review.
You're still angry now, mate.
We're going to review all the games so far. I'm fine.
You're reading off all this stuff. Like, oh yeah, I'm here tomorrow. I've got you.
You finally got me. After an hour of live streaming, you finally triggered me. Well done.
I love it.
Okay, let's get on.
Your head, like Harry Kane's going to be in Shaka's head.
Brilliant. Okay. Yeah, there's steam coming out of my ears. Right. On to the next game. There's 2 games left, right? Man United, West Ham, Sunday night, 7:15 from Old Trafford. Man United might have a shortage of forwards here as Martial suffered a hip injury against Milan on Thursday, and Marcus Rashford and Edinson Cavani expected to miss out. Their absence could result in a first league appearance for Amad Diallo. What was his celebration? He did some weird celebration like that, didn't he, when he scored?
Yeah, something like that, wasn't it?
David De Gea has returned from Spain following his son's birth. Congratulations, Dave the Save. But it's unclear whether his period of quarantine will end before Sunday, so we expect to see Henderson. Lingard is ineligible to face West Ham as they are his parent club. Smart bit of business there from West Ham, making sure he can't play against them. From Man United, sorry, making sure he can't play against them. Ogbonna's out. Ryan Fredericks, Arthur Masuaku, and Andriy Yarmolenko remain doubtful. Right, this one is a very interesting one. Man United 2nd, West Ham 5th. West Ham game in hand. They will go 4th with a win, presuming Chelsea don't get a result against Leeds. What do you reckon, Roz? Man United, West Ham, what's going to happen?
Are you okay?
I'm not okay. I keep messing up because I'm still a bit pissed off about all the Arsenal chat, but I'm fine.
So to speak. Right, so Man United, West Ham. Usually a good game, this one, actually. A few kind of tight encounters over the years. I think that even though they're kind of going in off that win over City, first half against Milan midweek, they looked really poor. Solskjaer's kind of got this habit of not looking that great and then pulling this result out of the bag, which makes every Man United fan go, see, he is the man. Better this season than it was last. Last season, it was like calls for his head, and then he'd get one result that kind of saved him. This season, it's like they just don't really look that great, and then he gets one big result. So even though they're missing Jesse Lingard, West Ham were brilliant before they got Lingard in online. Souček and Rice have been brilliant. Pains me to say it, but I'm actually going to go for West Ham in this one.
Yeah, me too.
Go for a West Ham win. Let's go for Thomas Souček.
Interesting.
Because he'll be up against Fred probably, and I don't rate him.
Fair enough. In the comments, we've got some people saying 1-1, Fernandes and Antonio to score. Universal Fleece saying, hate to say it, he's a United fan by the looks of it. Hate to say it, but United going to struggle tomorrow. Can see West Ham sneaking it unless we play our absolute best. I think that's kind of on the same page as us, isn't it, Roz? I'm saying 2-1 West Ham. I think Antonio is going to be too much of a handful for whoever United play at centre-back. 2 of the 3, Maguire, Bailly, Lindelof. I think Antonio is too much of a handful for those. And I do think, I think West Ham riding the crest of a wave. So I do expect them to go there and do something. You're saying Souček to be the main man, and you reckon West Ham are going to win as well?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go 2-1 as well, actually.
Interesting.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to sort of Harry. You know the way that Harry Maguire defends. Well, he doesn't really.
Yeah, exactly.
But that sort of really clumsy sort of the amount of fouls that guy gets away with.
Yeah.
Spoken about it before, like how the ref is just kind of blind to him, like just pulling strikers down and stuff.
It's
ridiculous.
It's a classic like Adams, Tony Adams, Martin Keown. You know, they were like that back in the day, weren't they? It's like that's why Adams was called a donkey, because he would kick everyone and get away.
That was the 90s. Like you can't do that anymore. And
well, maybe that means Maguire's on trend, mate. He's fashionable. You know, the 90s are very much in at the moment, aren't they? Maybe he's taking it to that next level by playing like a 90s player.
I'm looking forward to him trying to do that against the likes of Soucek, Antonio, sort of, you know, players that I think will probably outmuscle him.
Yeah.
Personally.
Interesting one. Which brings us on to our last game of the game week. It's Monday Night Football. It is Wolves hosting Liverpool at Molineux. I don't know where to start here. Liverpool, 1 win in their last 6, and that was at Sheffield United. Wolves only 1 loss in their last 6, but coming off the back of that 0-0 with Villa, so they kept a clean sheet against a Jack Grealish-less Villa. You know, in all honesty, that's nothing super special. If you're watching this one, get in the comments and let us know what your prediction is. Wolves Liverpool on Monday night. While we talk through it, Roz. Are Liverpool just on a downwards? Can they even qualify for Europe? Are they even going to be in Europe next season?
You know what? When you put me on the spot last week, right, and you asked me for my top 4, and I think I missed out Chelsea because I was so. What did I do? I made my table. I sort of looked at all the teams that's at the. So I actually sort of. You're never going to catch me out again. So what's the question? Will Liverpool make Europe? No.
Not according to your Premier League table.
I've got them down as finishing 10th.
10th? Where have you got? Where have you? Hang on. Out of interest, where have you put Arsenal then?
Based on the games they have left, Arsenal at 8.
So you reckon Arsenal will finish above Liverpool this season?
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Arsenal can win games at the Emirates, and they're capable of doing it. And Liverpool don't look capable of winning at Anfield at the moment.
Where have you put Wolves?
I mean, Arsenal's probably the only one there that I wouldn't expect, or I think might be tied with Liverpool.
Yeah.
There's upside above them.
Roz.
Aston Villa, who might get Jack Grealish back and then are a very good side. Leicester, Everton, West Ham, Spurs, Man United, Chelsea. Them finishing 10th isn't actually that ridiculous if you look at the seasons sides above them have had.
Where are you putting Wolves, Roz?
12th.
12th. So this is a big mid-table clash in your eyes.
Yes. Wolves,
Liverpool at Molineux. What's your prediction then? Who, it sounds like you're going to say Wolves might win this, but don't let me put words in your mouth.
No, Tom. Actually, I'm going to go the other way for this one. I'm going to go for Liverpool because it's at Molineux, isn't it? So they won't have that pressure, and I expect Klopp to kind of go for a side somewhere in the middle of what he went with against Fulham and his kind of strongest lineup. So I think we'll probably see Fabinho playing with one of the centre halves. I reckon we won't see the likes of Nico Williams, but he'll probably try and inject a bit more youth. And I think Diogo Jota will start, and I think he's going to score against his old side. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 Liverpool win with Diogo Jota to score.
Interesting. Very interesting. I mean, Harvey's in the comments again. Harvey, we're loving your contributions, mate. Keep it coming. Can't see anything but a Wolves win. Do you know what? I agree. I can't... Do you know, Liverpool are just... They're turd, mate. They're dog turd this season. For want of a better term. I've
never heard someone say they're turd.
Not since primary school, anyway. Let me read you their last few results. Lost 1-0 to Fulham. Lost 1-0 to Chelsea. Beat Sheffield United 2-0. One of them was an own goal. The other one was Curtis Jones.
Ah,
Lost 2-0 to Everton. Lost 3-1 to Liverpool. Mo Salah scored. Lost 4-1 to Man City. Mo Salah scored. They've scored 1 goal in their last 4 games in the Premier League. And, they've scored 1 goal, basically. The other one was an own goal. It's
and it was,
poor.
if I remember it right, a deflected one, wasn't it? It was Firmino.
Yeah.
Where it kind of deflected in.
I don't know. Do you know what? But Mo Salah is the Premier League's top scorer with 17 goals. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. And then Mane and Firmino, 7 and 6 respectively. When it comes to Wolves, their top scorer this season, joint on 5, is Ruben Neves and Pedro Neto. Jimenez on 4, obviously affected by an injury. But it's just so confusing, the Liverpool situation. If there are any Liverpool fans watching, I'd love to know, your opinions. Even if you're not a Liverpool fan, but, we've gone over this every week. We talk about Van Dijk missing. We talk about the wing-backs underperforming. Another stat I saw yesterday, the most times possession lost, right? The players who have lost possession the most times in the Premier League per game, the top 2 are Alexander-Arnold and Robertson, and they're both giving the ball away. Yeah, they're both in the Premier League, Roz, the whole of the league. They're both giving the ball away an average of 22 times a game. Now I know that in that Liverpool system, they are creating the chances, right? So they're the ones playing the balls in. They're the ones that are making the risky passes. Surely, if, the kind of players that tend to lead that kind of stat are number 10s, creative midfielders, creative strikers, because they are making those risky passes to set up potential, opportunities to score. Maybe Klopp should sort of have a plan B where they don't do that, because that appears to be how, do you know what I mean? They're losing so much. It's clearly not working. Try something else.
Oh, you know how Jurgen Klopp gets in an interview when he doesn't like a question?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, are you serious? Are you actually asking that question? Yeah? Are you for real? I'd love someone to pose the question to him, maybe have you ever thought about trying something? Have you ever tried not doing that? You're losing a lot of games, Jurgen. Have you ever tried
I'd love to say it to Jurgen Klopp. I'd like to say, have you thought, Jurgen, of trying some different tactics? Harvey's in the comments actually again. I've got to give Harvey a shout. Love Nuno as a manager. Salah and Mane are unrecognisable. Where are Liverpool's goals coming from? He reckons a Wolves win, and Connor Cody, the Scouser.
Oh, Connor Cody.
A bullet header from Connor Cody.
Yeah. Well, Connor Cody from the Liverpool Academy, of course.
Exactly.
Scouts through and through. It's interesting what it says about Salah being unrecognisable. You were saying he's top goal scorer, scored some absolute worldies this season, and actually one of my best mates, she's a Scouser, and I watched lots of Liverpool games with a Liverpool fan with that kind of hat on. And Salah's one of those players. He's a bit like Harry Kane used to be. I think Harry Kane's really kind of developed his game. Mo Salah is the most frustrating player to watch, but he's world class. Even in the seasons where he was tearing it up. But when you said the players that have lost the ball the most,
yeah,
the 2, I was fully expecting Mo Salah to be one of them. He's got that reputation of being selfish, but he's also, when it's not in the box, just, for me, such a frustrating player. Yeah. And then he scores a worldie, then wins the match. Mane, definitely unrecognisable, though. Mane just kind of not putting them away as he used to. No, I'm still sticking by Liverpool. I think that they had a win in Europe, didn't they? Comprehensive, 4-0. They didn't concede a goal against Nagelsmann's Leipzig, which is impressive. They're a very good side. 4-0 over 2 legs. So, yeah. What did I say? 2-1? No, 2-0. I said 2-0 Jota.
You said 2-0 with Jota to score. I mean, I think your head's in the clouds, mate. I don't know what you're talking about there. But, I
did say 2-0 Man United last week. You said, but City haven't conceded a goal and they've conceded 1 goal. And it's like, yeah, 2-0.
We'll see. We'll see next week when we go through the predictions that we made last week. And to be fair, you are winning 4-1 overall on these predictions. That's kind of bringing us to an end. One more thing to say. Average long balls, successful long balls in a game. Top of the standings, Connor Cody, with Alexander-Arnold and Robertson pushing forward, presuming Klopp doesn't try anything new. That could be a way in for Wolves. I can't see anything but a Wolves win. Thank you to everyone for watching. Roz, thanks for joining me this morning.
No worries, mate.
Lovely stuff, mate. And thank you for everyone getting involved in the comments. It's been great to have your opinions and you joining the conversation. Join us again tomorrow night, 6:30, where we will be joined by Mus and also special guest Tom, Crystal Palace fan. Looking forward to ribbing him when they lose to West Brom. Can you
remind me? We forgot last time. Can you remind me to ask him why Crystal Palace Brighton is the biggest rivalry in England?
Yes, we will definitely.
I need to ask Crystal Palace.
We need to get to that definitely because it is an insanely huge rivalry, but no one knows why. If you enjoy what you're seeing, subscribe to the channel. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Thanks again for all your comments and compliments. And you can follow us on Twitter at EPLW Pod. And if you really like what you're seeing and you want to be a part of the family and help us out and maybe even appear on a show yourself, get over to patreon.com/Joe Carter EPLW and you could be a part of the EPLW family. Thank you very much. And we will see you on Sunday. Cheers, Roz. See you later, mate.
That's one, man.